It's Thursday again, tell everybody to lock in, grab some popcorn, a drink, and go and throw your AirPods in. It's the 1 hour show, constantly speaking facts. Bulletproof stats are always shooting from Matt. And when it comes to Kyle, you getting numbers and style. Jake is gonna educate you, he has that knowledge on file. Players, step your game up, don't be sluggish or lazy. Or Jimmy J might hit you with a shaky baby. Catch him on YouTube or any podcast platform. Breaking all the news down like Shaq does the backboards. No hot takes, this is where the hottest debate's at. Now kick your feet up, cause it's time for straight facts.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Straight Facts, a sports show that educates and entertains, presented to you by the Up On Game Network. It's your boy, James Jackson, joined by Jake Galley, Kyle Sirik, and Stat Matt Robinson. What's going on, y'all? How we doing today?
Doing well. Doing very well. We have a huge week of football. This is when it starts to get real and the teams start to play like their
football in
divisional
December,
opponents.
baby. Football in December,
Yeah,
baby.
very, very tough football coming up.
I'm good, man. I'm going to the Eagles game, talking about football. I'll be there on Sunday. We got Washington. Matt V, if you're listening.
There you go.
And Jake gave me his pen, and he thinks he's getting it back. But
I need that. That's my pen basketball pen, dude. I can't do it without it.
I'm just gonna follow you guys. I'm so excited for Eagles Washington on Sunday. It's the first time in a while that the Eagles have had like playoff hopes in a season that didn't seem dreadful. It's just like it's just like a fun. Hey, we could make the playoffs.
Really?
Playing division rival, we're favored.
since 2018, I would say probably.
I was about to say, because really? You think so? You think some of
The 2018, everything went wrong, and we squeaked our way in. 2019, everything went wrong, we squeaked our way in.
Yeah.
2020, we were awful, and I can't say it's like the Super Bowl year because it's not like the Super Bowl
Not quite.
year at all.
Before we get going to the episode, because Kyle, I noticed you have the Hail to Pitt hat on. How do you feel about your boy Kenny Pickett, quote unquote, changing the game with that fake slide? Where do you side on that?
I think that
unbiased aside, for real.
I think it was dope. I mean, should they change the rule? Yeah, but he's the only one that's ever done that, and they had a rule. It's a Kenny Pickett rule now, right?
So,
there was the Tuck rule. Now you got the Kenny Pickett rule.
I forget. I'm talking to a pit like he's you love like.
But you don't think that was dope, dude?
Legacy
that highlight is dope though.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. You can't admit it. Now should it?
I just thought of it from a defender's aspect. I just thought of it from
He took advantage of a hole in the rule book.
Yeah,
which is what you're supposed to do when you win. And then the NCAA patched up the hole.
Yeah. Should they have changed the rule? Yeah, but the highlight.
I'm glad they acted swiftly because, and Ryan Clark tweeted it. Ryan Clark was like, "Don't blame me when I knock your quarterback's block off.
Right.
Like, don't blame me when I do that."
Oh, the rule should have been changed. But what's cool about it is this the only time it's ever happened, and it's 2021. We're playing football, and they just had to address this rule. Like it was.
You want to know why?
Because it's unfair. Because it's like quarterbacks have probably thought of it, and they're like, I can't do that. Because like
the next time you try and do it, you get blown up on. Like some guy runs through your head, and you wake up in the back of a hospital.
I did watch the ACC championship game, but did he slide the rest of that game?
Probably. I don't know. Kenny just runs.
I would doubt if he tried to slide the rest of that game because as a defender, like the next time you try to slide, I'm taking the targeting penalty. I'm taking off the sheer embarrassment. I'm taking the targeting penalty.
He probably slid. He actually does need to change that though because he takes a lot of hits.
Fun fact: found this out over the weekend. Someone showed me Kenny Pickett was committed to Temple University to play football at one point in his recruitment process, and that fits. You know what? That makes sense. Good for him to get out of there. That's he dodged the bullet by going to Pitt. Good job, Ken.
He dodged the bullet. All right, let's get into the episode. That's enough of Kenny Pickett.
There's never enough of
future
Kenny
Eagles
Pickett.
quarterback.
That's why he brought it up. That's why I brought it up to say that.
Future Eagles quarterback, Kenny Pickett. We're going to actually go into the NFL and talk about a big week in football you talked about for the Eagles. It's a big week across the entire NFL, really. And a lot of matchups are going to lead directly to that. And we'll start right now with the 9-4 Chiefs going to the 8-5 Chargers. Chargers coming off a big win. The Chiefs look right. They look like they're back right, especially after that performance. But 9-4 against 8-5, the Chargers really need one to keep pace. And I think if the Chiefs get this one, that's the separation is starting to get like real noticeable again between them and the rest of the.
It's really ridiculous that. Like, they are able to flip a switch, so to speak, and it's like, it's time to win some games. And it's not like their offense has looked, like, completely back. There have been flashes where the Chiefs have been impressive on offense. But Yeah, these two teams tied in points per game. They're the 5th and 6th best passing offenses in the league, respectively. But the big hole, and this is like the matchup I'm going to be looking at, is the run game. The Chargers 4th against the pass, very good defensively, but 31st in terms of yards per game against the run. Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting in the end zone 2 times probably has him feeling pretty good. So I would imagine last time they played, the Chiefs lost the game, but they were able to run the ball 30 times for 6.2 yards a carry. So I would have to think this game's going to be won or lost in the trenches, which is very cliche to say. But, I mean, it's true in this one.
And it's funny because going into this, the billing, if from the outside looking in, is we're going to get a shootout of a ball game. We're going to get 35 plus points, 400 yards blown across the board. But I kind of agree with you. I think whichever team does dial that in, maybe not for the entire game, but makes that like the preface of setting the tone, I think they win. And whenever the Chiefs do run the ball really well, the rare times that they do, they win the football game.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the Chiefs versus the Chargers defense, but we need to talk about how great of a turnaround this Chiefs defense has had.
Talk about it.
It's unbelievable how horrible they were. They've allowed a combined 48 points over the last 5 games. That's just 9 a game. And they played Derek Carr twice, who's not a scrub. They played Dak Prescott. Teddy Bridgewater's not that good. But still, the fact that they've completely turned it around, it's like, oh, crap, we have to get stuff together. And they did. They're the 2-time defending AFC champions. And their defense is finally giving them the offense some time to grow and fix itself, which it may have done last week.
People are starting to say more than just the Chiefs defense have gotten it right. They're starting to say the Chiefs defense is the best defense in football or is playing like the best defense in football.
That's because Nick Wright has too much airtime on TV.
I mean, is that factor overreaction that the Chiefs defense is playing like that? Or is it just relative to what they were doing in the first 8-9 weeks
that's
of
the
the
thing. Recency bias, especially with sports analysts. Like, they flipped the script. That's some people always want to say they flipped the script. I think they're playing great. I think they have a, based off recent performance, probably a top 10 unit in the league right now. The best in the league? No, I'm not going to go there. But going back to this game, I actually think this game will shoot out. I mean, the projected over-under right now is 52.5. The Chargers aren't going to get away from passing the ball with Justin Herbert. That's what they do. They did it last week with no Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen's back tomorrow night. Of course, it's the Thursday night game. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. And KC will do it too. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, right? The big thing that I'm seeing is Rashad Slater's not going to play. Rashawn Slater.
That's huge. Yeah.
He's about to be like an all-pro left tackle his rookie year. Huge. And now you want to go against who's on the other side? Frank Clark, guys like that to come at him and get to the backfield. I think that could be a big problem for the Chargers. And you mentioned if the Chiefs win, right, they probably separated themselves for winning the division, right? I think if the Chargers win, they're now the favorites to win the division and might very well do it. They've already beat the Chiefs once. Now they'll have 2-0 and the Chiefs hold the tiebreaker. They'll have the same record. Chargers got the Texans next week. You could probably chalk that one up to a victory. And then they got Raiders and Broncos, right? Not freebie games, but I mean, on the other side, Casey still has to play Cincy. They got some tough games too. So I think just as much as the Chiefs can break away, obviously they break away, they have more of a cushion to win the division. If the Chargers win this game tomorrow, I think they win the division.
I think you're right. Yeah, but I also think the Chiefs are thinking about the 1 seed, not the division.
Right.
Because if the Chiefs get the 2 or 3 seed, they have to win 3 playoff games. And I don't think, and with their veteran experience, if they're the 5 or 6 seed, because the Chargers win the division, I don't think they're that worried about that. I think the bye is what's important to them, but the Chargers need the division win just from a playoff seeding perspective. This game's a lot more important for the Chargers than it is for the Chiefs because if the Chargers aren't going to win a road playoff game against a division winner unless someone in the AFC North is really creaking.
Well, we talked about their offensive statistics, how similar they are. We're looking at 2 very similar offenses, especially from how they run from the quarterback position out. But if we look at the teams and where they are in their season, like I think it's different. Like to me, this is the turning point for the Chargers season. After this, they got the Texans, Broncos, and Raiders. You win this game, and you got the mindset of we're winning now. And Kyle, you said it. We're now the front runners of the division. For me, it's the Chiefs' chance to solidify them back to where Matt said they were last week. I mean, saying like no one else has taken the throne in the AFC. We're still the kings of this thing.
Right.
I think that's where both of these teams are. I guess that could be a turning point for the Chiefs too, but it's more of a validation or solidification for the Chiefs. It's the turning point for the Chargers. The light flips on if you're Los Angeles if you win this game.
And I think some of we talked about the flip switch for Kansas City. A lot of that obviously had to do with the defense. I think it's like their last 6 games they haven't allowed more than 20 points. And it's against some really good teams too. You think about the Packers, the Cowboys. Las Vegas can, score sometimes. I don't think they're a great team, but points stand. So
not last week.
And And I think that for Kansas City it was somewhat personal. Like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce not having like the best years ever. They're obviously still very good players, but and then that you can go down the offense. Patrick Mahomes not having a very good year, so this is kind of the first time that the quote unquote dynasty has been tested, and we'll see. I think that they're going to probably end out the year as the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say.
Fact,
and if they do, it gets scary.
Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game.
Yeah. I actually just heard that stat for the first
If they
time
do end up this 1 seed, that means they finish the season strong, and that's all the Chiefs need right now for a healthy playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't let them go in, a little soft into the playoffs because they haven't done that yet. They've gone in best team in the AFC, second best team in the AFC. The years they've done this year, they won the Super Bowl. Year they made the Super Bowl and lost. Don't let that team come in now 5 straight victories, 6 straight victories into the playoffs. That's all that team needs to just be the top of the AFC by a wide margin the way stuff's going.
Playing your best, I always say like there's something to be said to playing your best football end of November, December.
It looks like
January.
we could be on that track. It could be scary.
Yeah, that does get scary. All right, we'll move on to the next game that we got a kind of a key in on right now. And that's the Bengals 7-6 at the Broncos 7-6 as well. 2 roller coaster teams. I mean, Matt V stood right here in week 3 or something like that and said, "I'm ready to put the Bengals in the playoffs." Then they go and lose, to the Jets, and it looks really bad. Then they go and kill the Steelers, and you're like, oh, it looks good again. So, and then you got kind of the same thing with the Broncos, where the Broncos had a hot start, then they tanked, then they got up again, then they went down. Now they're kind of back up. You know what I mean? Two very similar teams again. I think, it's why they're both 7-6 and going to this matchup. So I'll start on the far end. Matt, like this is what we're looking for. The Bengals really can control their own destiny right now if they win this and they beat Baltimore and Cleveland in their final 3 games. So who are you looking at in this matchup right here?
I'm looking at Cincinnati. I trust Cincinnati because they are what I expected them to be, which is a good but really inconsistent team. And they just seem like the team that will – this is like they had up and down, up and down. Last week against the 49ers was an up and down game within it. The fact even though they lost, the fact that they came back from 14 down – got the tie, took the lead in overtime, and then got kittled, basically.
Yeah.
Just shows the fight that they have in that team. They're having a lot more fun than most teams in that conference because they have no expectations. I like Cincinnati, and I think it's kind of like a losers eliminated kind of game, too. Yeah. Because the Broncos lose this game. They play the Chiefs week 18. They've lost 14 consecutive games to the Chiefs or something like that. So they really need to win this game, and I just think this is where the Broncos have had a valiant season, but they're going to bow out here.
I
think
it's
time
tough.
of the season where Teddy Bridgewater
I think it's tough. I think the Bengals probably are one of the most frustrated teams in the league right now. You go back 2 weeks ago, they're playing from behind against the Chargers. They come back. Joe Mixon fumbles the ball back for a touchdown. Chargers blow out that game, end up winning by like 20. Last week, they play horrible football till like halfway through the third quarter, muster up another comeback, send the game to OT, lose an OT, right? I mean, this team right now is playing, has the talent, I agree, to be a good team, right? Has the talent to knock off anyone really that's in front of them in the AFC, but they're coming up short week after week, and I'm not sure if that gear is going to turn for them. I mean, Broncos are coming off of a bye week, essentially. They played the Lions. I know it's not technically a bye week, but they got to run the ball 45 times and beat them by 20-something. I mean, I think the Broncos are actually hitting a groove right now, set up. I think they could actually do it.
Yeah, this game, in my opinion, it's going to come down to Burrow.
Yeah.
How
before you start, I just want to say one thing. Burrow needs to turn it on earlier.
Yeah.
Dude, he didn't turn it on last week until like the fourth quarter against San Fran, and then looked amazing.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And they need him to like be that always, like you're saying.
Yeah.
That was the first game in the past 4 games. So in a 5-game stretch, he had not been over 100 passer rating in any of those previous 4 games. And that game against the Niners was also Burrow's first multi-touchdown game in that same stretch. So he has struggled. And everyone loved to parade around Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is awesome. I was wrong about him. He can catch a little bit.
A little bit.
Had that
Chase
tough
is
job
awesome.
against the Chargers, though.
And he also fed the intercept. Right, he can catch and he also feeds interceptions to D-backs. But you look at this team now and where they're ailed. Without Jamar Chase, they still have Tyler Boyd. They still have T. Higgins, who looks awesome. They still have Joe Mixon. But where they're struggling on offense is protecting the quarterback. Still, Burrow second in the NFL in sack percentage. He's tied with Lamar.
But they knew this, right? They knew this.
That's
You
the
knew
thing.
this. You sold your soul to get
yelling
Jamar
at the
Chase. You
TV.
knew this,
They
right?
had an option to pick Penei Sewell. He
Mhm.
was right there, and they passed on him. And everyone, all the Bengals fans, paraded around. Hey, we don't need to pick a tackle. No, you do. Burrow's getting mangled. 41 sacks, most in the NFL. He's tied for the most interceptions with Trevor Lawrence, the other number 1 pick, struggling right now. And it's like, I don't know, like it does, like clearly Jamar Chase is not solving some of the issues with Burrow. And I think the only way you solve those issues is with a solid offensive line. And this is the last thing I'll say on the game, it will come down to how perfect Joe Burrow can be.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
You
gonna
look
say.
at the stats for Denver, here's what I would be scared of if I'm on the Cincy sideline.
Good.
The second most drive time and average plays per drive. You turn the ball over, you lose the turnover battle, you are not going to see that ball back for a while.
Mhm.
And that's not the game the Bengals want to play.
Yeah,
And the Bengals can get ran on. And
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, you don't think of them as premier backs, but that backfield is very good.
No, people are sleeping on Uncle
In that
Melvin this year.
offense,
People
yeah.
sleeping on what Uncle Melvin been doing.
And
in
Javonte
Denver,
Williams
yeah.
now is very. I mean,
Yeah.
both of them had 2 touchdowns last week.
Hmm.
I mean, against the Lions, as I said, bye week. But I mean, it's crazy. I think the Broncos are a very consistent football team, right? Maybe playing a little better than expectations, but at this point in the season, we know who they are now. They can really give you a fight. They blew out the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Ended up losing the Eagles the week after. But I mean, it happens. So I think this game, playing the games where in Denver, a lot closer than people think.
I do think it's Joe Burrow.
I think it's going to be a close game.
I think it's Joe Burrow
Yeah.
and Cincy's offense against the Broncos.
I think when
defense.
a
I think that's where the game is won.
Yeah,
right there.
but I agree with you, Matt. Like, I know that you think it's going to be close. Yeah, it will be close. But I think when a lot of people look at this game just on the billing, the probably average NFL viewer is like, since he wins. There's a lot more than that.
You
There's
think
a lot
so?
more
You
to-
think
yes.
that's the easy connotation? Really?
The average person? Yeah. I think the average NFL fan.
Denver's been kind of being looked down on like all year though. Like,
Denver's
so, like,
not
that's why.
flashy. People look at Burrow like, he's the man.
I mean, this
first
I
Bridgewater.
don't know. Do we have like a line on this game? Like, what would you guess?
I'm assuming it's Denver by 3.
-3, right? Yeah, that's what I would put it because.
That means it's down the middle because you get 3 points. For
Right,
being
you get
the
3
team.
points.
Yeah.
So what? And I don't.
It's 2.5 right now.
I don't know, dude. I might take Denver at that
I
number
agree.
just because you have the key number of 3, and then on top of that, they're going to have the ball the majority of the time, most likely. So,
I agree.
DVOA's got him 18th and 19th.
man, that's tight. That's tight.
This will be a good game.
This will be a good game.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the one that y'all are going to be circling.
Matter of fact, what time is that?
You want to circle that? You got your own game to go
That's what
to.
I'm saying. Like, is that a 4:00 game? Because that's a game I want to watch.
I'm not sure.
We can go to the game I'm going to though.
All right, let's go to it. Eagles versus Washington football team. 2 6-7
4 o'clock.
teams, both chasing the Cowboys in the NFC East, which, by the way, is not a foregone conclusion at all. And this,
So the Cowboys are going to win the division.
yeah, let's see if one of y'all got something to say. But probably, but let's see, because Washington's still on their heels now. We talked about last week how they're not 100% in the clear. But anyway, Eagles versus Washington. Washington is currently in the 7th seed, which is the last playoff spot in the NFL right now. They play each other twice, these two teams, in the last 4 weeks of the season, essentially having the same schedule between them. But it's a big one, man. Week 15, Eagles, Washington football team. I'm going to skip Jake because I know what you're going to say. I can't talk to any of y'all, really.
I'm about to
I
say,
can't talk to any of y'all, really.
I'm
I be
going to
forgetting
the
it.
game.
For
Don't
some
worry,
reason,
guys.
I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like Kyle's my alliance when I got to, jump Eagles stuff. And then
Kyle's
it was
just as
like,
summer as I am.
I'm going to the game, so.
yeah.
Even more.
This is what
in
I
this
say.
case.
This is what I say. Last week, Taylor Heineke looked horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible. They lost, was it Jonathan Allen on the D tackle? He's out. COVID.
That's big.
Won't play.
He's their
That's
best
huge.
defensive lineman.
That's huge.
How's Terry McLaurin?
The Birds, McLaurin might have a concussion, didn't have a catch, got knocked out in third quarter. Thing about the Eagles is, and we said it 2 weeks ago talking about the Eagles, they're playing really good football right now, right? And Washington was, but then they finally got their first test last week at home against Dallas and really weren't in that game.
I don't think Washington has been I know they had a 4-game win streak, but none of their wins were impressive. Other than
I
the
think
Bucs
anytime
win.
you beat the Bucs,
regardless,
though, winning
the first one.
this league, winning 4 games in this league is tough to do. I don't care how you got those wins.
Because the wins against the Seahawks and the win against the Raiders were just such bleh. And the Panthers have been horrible since they started hot. And I think even though they didn't really play the Cowboys close, even though they played them close.
That's what I was about to say. 7-point game, that game wasn't close. And 7 point is still a lot of points to lose by. And 7 points happens to be what the Eagles are favored by this week. I think this number, don't get too flashy on it. I think the Eagles it's gonna look similar to the Saints game objectively. The Eagles-Saints game I'm talking about, where the Eagles went in, played a great football game, beat them pretty well. And I think we're going to see that on Sunday.
If you continue being the best running team in the NFL, I think you'd be. It kind of coincides with
I think it's going to be very low scoring because I think the Washington's defense is really good.
On paper, man.
But recently they played well, too.
They shut Dak down last week. I'll give them that.
And it's 17-15, 17-15, and then they played Brady pretty well, too. I just don't see how Washington can move the ball. Not because the Eagles' defense is good, but even if McLaurin is healthy. And his concussion isn't bothering him.
I can see us getting ran on.
Well, just put Slay on McLaurin.
Yeah.
And I think Eagles win this game like an ugly 20-3 kind of game.
It's NFC East football. Ugly.
I think the Eagles could show us themselves this week and come out. If they play a sound game, they're going to.
I think so too. I mean, I see chinks in the kinks. I see kinks in the Washington football team. Chinks in the Washington football team's armor here. Like we're having the worst, pass defense in the NFL. 30th in yards, 32nd in TDs. Having injuries to their defensive line. Like the Eagles are coming in not only on a roll, but being the best running football team in the NFL, but there's openings to pass, and who knows? I guys don't know who your starter is going to be this weekend, but who knows if Gardner goes in and throws the ball over
Hurts is starting.
I almost prefer Gardner to play.
No, they announced Hurts is starting.
Did they announce him officially?
Hurts. It was the team who announced it, or was it Hurts saying, "I'm going to do everything I can do to play"?
That's what I saw.
An alert saying that, and he said the same thing last week, and they sat him, or 2 weeks ago.
I would almost prefer Gardner to play this game. Just like when we went to the Jets. Like, this one's in hand if we just pass the ball.
So you trust Minshew? All right, so here's our
Here you go with the slippery slope.
If
you just throw the ball.
Going into the Jets game, I was like, it's kind of better like we start Minshew this week. I think I had the feeling like as if we started, not even thinking about the Hurts injury, just if we started Minshew that week, we're playing the Jets. He's not going to do enough to lose us the game. And he's going to play well enough. His floor isn't bad. It's just Gardner Minshew. We've seen Hurts have some bad games. We saw him throw 4 interceptions.
I think Minshew can have some bad games too.
But you don't think this is a game Minshew could lose you? No, you don't think this is a game Minshew could lose you?
I think it is, but I think he won't. I'm going to actually take that back. Hurts should play. But my thinking in the Jets game of that this is an inferior opponent and he's going to be able to get the job done, I do believe that. But I think Hurts should play, actually.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if he will. I think Jay Glazer reported, so Matt said that they were splitting reps this week in practice, and Jay Glazer had reported that it was a 2 to 4 week injury. So this would be technically week 3. He missed the past 2. I mean, he didn't miss the past 2. One of them was a bye. But I mean, it is still a possibility if he is banged up and it's an ankle and he's a running quarterback. We've seen him put his foot in the ground and make people miss, and you love that about him. But you don't want to put him out there if there is a chance. I'm just saying I don't know for sure that it will be Hurts. So saying that, going into it, I am still confident the Eagles are going to win this game.
I'm kind of trending towards the Eagles winning this game too. Like you talked about the Eagles defense not being like so great, or the Eagles defense not being good. Like I think the Eagles defense is playing really well so far, and the addition of Darius Slay is now officially the captain of your defense. Like Fletcher Cox may be the veteran statesman, but that's the best player on your defense. Maybe the best player on your team right now because he's playing lights out. And if you turn Washington over, I think you only need one extra possession to really break this game open. Yeah. And then, like you say, Kyle, you kind of beat them handily after that. it may teeter between 10 and 14 points, but you have a grip on the game. And I think all it takes is for that turnover to happen once, cash in on it, and now you have all the momentum in this game.
And one thing I will say is that it may be even smart if Hurts is any sort of banged up to start Minshew, because remember that they see Washington in Washington 2 weeks from now again. So
this game's in Washington.
This game's in Philly.
In 2 weeks.
I'm saying they play Washington in Washington with the Giants in between. So if you don't want to, if you want to up the percentage of you winning both games, a good way to do that would be not showing them what your offense against their defense looks like with your QB1 if you have a reason not to.
I agree with that. If you don't need all these wins, you need all these wins.
That's fair. No,
you can't play with your food right now. You need all these wins. All right, that good for the NBA talk. Are you okay? Are you okay with that over there, stat man? Because you really want to declare an Eagles win. Are you okay?
Eagles are gonna win.
Yeah, let's do picks. We didn't pick any of these games.
Yeah, let's
you want to go down? All right. Chiefs Chargers. Jay, go ahead.
Chiefs, because the Chargers defense isn't good enough.
Chiefs.
I think it shoots out though.
I'll do it. I'll say Bertram gets them. Just because I hate when a full panel goes.
It's gonna be a fun game.
It's gonna be a really fun game, but I think the Chargers can get it done. I'll go to the Chargers. I'll go to the Chargers just for the sake of parity. Bengals Broncos.
I don't know if I can be completely unbiased in this because I do have a bet for the Broncos to make the playoffs.
We just talked about the Eagles for 20 minutes.
Put your analyst hat on for a second, please.
Bengals, Joe Burrow looks like himself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Broncos are the better football team. Bengals have more talent. Broncos are the better football team right now.
Bengals.
I'm also going to go Bengals. I think the firepower. I think
don't let me be right on this one.
Yeah, it's fun when you go out on a limb and you get it right. All right.
I'm not gonna.
Eagles, Washington.
No, I'm not even.
Yeah, none of y'all have to answer. No, it's a clean sweep across the board for the Eagles.
Eagles easily.
Here you go.
I'll put it in the notes, Matt, that you said Eagles.
Easily.
So if it's not easy, if it's a one possession
you say
game,
you think it's going to be an ugly.
No, I agree. Matt did say this too. I agree.
Ugly game, but easy game.
Easy, so like 10 points.
How does that happen? I don't
20
think.
to 3.
20
okay,
to
that's
3.
a proclamation. I'm not going that far.
I'm not going to predict anything as easy, but I think it'll look like the Cowboys game. I think we'll have it.
I don't think 20 to 3
is
that ugly.
I think we'll have it in hand a decent amount. They might have a shot to punch back in the fourth, and who knows if they do it. But
All
Birds
right.
win.
All right. We got it all on paper. We'll check tape, and we'll see who was right, who was wrong. I'll make a graphic out of it, too. You know, we always like to put the final results on social media. We'll move on to the NBA because, as we always like to say, best time of the sports year and get the best of both worlds. And we're going to do that in this podcast. We move on to the NBA. And we've been trying to figure out what's the best way to encapsulate this kind of like weird, mundane NBA season that's going on so far. So we're going to do some power rankings. Of the Eastern Conference. You about to say something?
No.
Oh, my
but
fault. I thought you were going to.
I wasn't actually going to say that. I was moving my mic. But what we're doing here is we all put our rankings in.
Mm-hmm.
We all put them in 1 through 5.
Explain what we're doing.
Yeah, 1 through 5. All 4 of us had separate rankings. One person's, Jake's, actually ended up being the consensus ranking, the average ranking of all of us. So that's what this is here.
Yeah. So
we're going to go 1 through 5.
The consensus, straight facts from Jake's mind, Eastern Conference power ranking.
Yeah.
The first team we're going to go. Well, actually, I'll go from 5. I'll go from 5 to 1.
It kind of writes itself, though, in a way.
For these power rankings?
Like, in my opinion, this is kind of...
Jake's trying to say he's the most objective mind.
I just think that I'm not, like I feel like I didn't make any, big claims. The Nets going... Last year, the Nets were the best team. I
actually only have one.
But I like how you're explaining the process because I do think there's when we make these power rankings, you have your list originally in your head and you change it because you're like, nah, this team's actually probably better than this. You try to rewrite the script, you might be right.
Yeah.
So we'll go from 5 to 1. Number 5, we'll start with the Chicago Bulls. Just a very smart basketball team. 29th in three-point attempts, but 4th in three-point percentage. And we talked about when we, a couple of weeks ago when we talked about they had the same kind of stat line, and it's just continuing. And all the things we've talked about from preseason to why they're the most impressive in the offseason to the beginning of the NBA season until now, nothing has changed with the Bulls. They haven't dropped off. They haven't started fizzling out. They're just great, smart basketball team, fun to watch, and they got a bunch of players on that team who are going for all-star bids right now.
A wise man once proclaimed long ago, Bulls might be nice with one extra piece. Turns out that one extra piece was DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan, baby.
Who would have thought? He is sixth in the league, even though he's dealing with the COVID bout. Sixth in the league and scoring 26.4 points per game. And he's been a huge reason as to why they've looked at him and Lonzo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Lonzo Ball also another big piece. I think that he's looked great in a Chicago Bulls uniform and what he's been doing there. But I do worry a little bit because and when I said, the Bulls could be good, it was with the idea that Nikola Vucevic would be a big contributor, and that
he is kind of getting drowned out.
He's definitely.
It's not even that. I think he's playing poorly.
Well, and
he's only shooting 40%. I mean,
exactly.
It's tough.
So, and I think he's right.
I think that
he's
is
being asked to do some different things as well.
I think that's a testament to the Bulls, though, because we have them ranked in the power rankings 5, but they're the 2 seed in the East as we speak. So, I mean, I think it's testament to Bulls how well they're playing. I was going to hit on the Vucevic thing. I think we're seeing him regress a little bit. I don't even think that's just other guys need the ball. I just think Vuce is playing a little poorly. Now, we've seen flashes of it in the past couple weeks with DeRozan missing some games, some other bench pieces being out. We saw Vuce go for 30 and 14 a week and a half ago. I think he could come back. But I think the big thing is that's a testament to how good the Bulls are, right? I mean, I had him ranked 5, as Jake did. I think you guys had him a little higher. But
3.
I think what we can say is they deserve to be on this list. We all had them on this list. So, I mean, I think my concern is the depth as it's been all season with this team. Alex Caruso is now a starter. They decided to do that with Patrick Williams
First
out.
in the league in steals, though. Put some respect.
But then your bench is Ayo Dosunmu, Derek Jones Jr.
Who all give you good minutes, though. Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah, but that's first and second off the bench, and the rest of the guys are
Patrick Williams isn't. Yeah.
Well, Patrick Williams is hurt. He's done. He's out for the year.
Oh, he's out for the year.
Yeah, he's out for the year.
That's
I'm
why
reading
they
the wrong
put
person.
Caruso in.
Javante Green.
Yeah, they are going to have an issue with depth, and they're also going to have an issue with especially their bigs. You get matched up versus, let's say the Atlanta Hawks, and you're going to have to defend pick and rolls with Vucevic, and Trae Young is the guy coming downhill at you. That is a hellscape.
Well, I see a lot of Vooch getting drowned out, and maybe he is playing poorly, but you kind of hit on it, Kyle. He's asked to do a lot of things, or he's getting put in spots he's not good at, he's not traditionally being put in. And we talked about how the Bulls were such a balanced team in the beginning of the season of, I have my guys who play well in transition, my Lonzo Balls, my Zach LaVines, but then I have guys who play great in half court, my Nick Vooches, my DeMar DeRozans. And then the Bulls stopped playing in half court. and then Nick Vooch kind of got, it comes in little spurts. And maybe when you have guys that sit out, the half court games becomes a little bit more prevalent. Nick Vooch has a better game.
Yeah.
But they're more of a free flowing offense. I don't want to say rim running offense, but they're a full court offense, and that's just not where Nick Vooch signs. But that's a testament to how good the Bulls are. Nick Vooch doesn't need to sign.
Vucevic has got to be better on the boards.
But I think he's playing poorly.
I know he's averaging 10.5 rebounds per game,
right now,
but not 1.7 offensive rebounds per game. And as a team, they're 27th in the league in offensive rebounds. That's got to be better. Vucevic, if he's not going to make his own shots, he's got to rebound his teammates' misses, because 89% of his rebounds are coming defensively, which is a high rate. On average, it's roughly around 75-25.
Right. Yeah. All right, we'll move on from this list. We'll go down to the number 4 team. That's the Miami Heat, a team that I was very high on coming into the season. I still am battling some injury problems right now. Struggling a little bit, 5-7 in the last 12. Kyle Lowry has his lowest three-point percentage since 2010. Also, fewest blocks per game in the NBA as a team. The Bam Adebayo injury might have something to do with that, most likely does. But that doesn't change their stature on our list. We still have them as the number 4 team in the Eastern Conference. And I think all things considered, when they get back healthy and hit a stride, this is not only a good team, this is a Jimmy Butler-led team. All they need is a glimmer of hope, and they'll take that to the bank.
Lowry's big for him, too. I mean, I think that they've maintained their Heat identity, which I guess never was really a question, but Lowry fits perfectly into that. It's a big, big, big detractor. And honestly, I kind of forgot it. It kind of slipped mind that Bam Adebayo is not going to be with them. for such an extended period, which does knock their rating in my mind a little bit.
It's not too much longer.
It's like 4 to 6 weeks, I thought.
Yeah, but he's like 2 down.
I was gonna say we're 2 weeks
2-3 down.
Right, so it could be between
when I did my personal ranking, I took that into consideration. That the Heat team that we're seeing right now, they're struggling in 5 of the last 7. This is, I mean, not the Heat team that we're going to see, all things considered.
Yeah, and because they're 10 games without Butler too. They've missed. They're 5-5 in those games. So the more when they come back together, they'll be a lot more consistent than they have been.
And then, I don't have Tyler Hero's numbers off the top of my head. Not that he's a focal point of anything that the Heat does, but he's probably taking a little step back.
Take a step back.
Having your best players out. No one thinks of Tyler Hero as leading the Heat to the playoffs or anything.
Yeah.
So having your best players out is going to hurt.
You don't think about the play. Well, I think in terms of production, he should be doing more with the 2 best players out. Hero, just in this stretch of games, he should be, but his numbers should just be way higher.
No, but the type of player he is, and his game, he's a huge catch and shoot player. So like he exists within.
Yeah,
stars.
It helps, but I mean, like ideally, his usage rate has gone up, and the stats have.
In his last 7,
it's not really a big.
In the last 7 games, he's only shooting 32% from 3.
Yeah, and that doesn't shock me. So then I don't think it's a knock on Tyler Hero.
The thing about the Heat, a month ago they were the second best team like in the league to me. It went like Warriors Heat when the season was starting. I still think they can get back to that point. We're seeing a team that's just hit by injuries, right? Yeah. Not season-ending injuries, not at a bad point in the season. I mean, we're not even into 2022 yet. Playoffs won't even start until like the 5th month of 2022. Mm-hmm. So I think they're good. I think things I'm liking out of this team right now. One, we're seeing productive minutes from guys you didn't expect to, and I know they're given more opportunity now. But PJ Tucker just had like 23, 9, and 5, which was great.
Which is like, when's the last time PJ Tucker had a stat line?
The fact that we know he could do that means when I put you into a way less elevated role and I only need you to take a couple shots and give your effort on defense, he can still do that stuff. We saw Caleb Martin go for like 28. I was going
to give Caleb Martin a shout.
Yeah, 28. He had like 18, 16-point games as well.
Plus
him in an elevated role now is leading this team to where you put him in a reduced role and you can trust him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel that way about some of these players before. But when Jimmy Butler gets back, Bam Adebayo gets back and healthy, I think Bam will take a little more time.
And Lowry will gel with his new team better, too.
Yeah, Lowry. Dude, I think this team, the injuries could help them in the long run.
Yeah.
And they're still playing decent ball.
Something to be said about that. And the Heat are a team, Jimmy Butler is a star that when ancillary players or role players start to shine like that and then they go back to their reduced role, Jimmy Butler is like, I know how to use that. You're not just going to go back and fade into non-existence. Well, and that's there will be a use for you now.
He's the type star that other players, and this is I'm sure why Joel Embiid loved playing with him, like he is a star that has the motor of like an Alex Caruso type guy, which not a lot of high-level players, because he's not your go-to scorer. He can be. He's not your go-to defense. Well, he probably is in this case, but point being is he's kind of like a utilitarian, like you can put him wherever you need to type player, and that's great for guys like Kyle Lowry, guys like Tyler Hero, who we discussed need guys who can kind of do that sort of thing. So between him, Tucker, and Bam, you have like an incredibly grisly front for your defense.
It's a very gritty team. They've had this mantra pretty much since the bubble, since they got Jimmy Butler, and they're a stay the course team to me. A lot of teams will go up and down. They're a team that will stay even keeled, that will battle through injury, will battle through adversity. Just we'll stay the course, and at the end of the season, we're going to look up and the Heat are going to be right where they were at the beginning, and that's through all this adversity.
Going back to the list, that's where I was thinking from and rating them. Mm-hmm. So I had Bulls 5, which we did, but my 4 and 3 I had flip flopped, who actually played each other tonight. So I actually had the Heat 3 and the next team 4, but I was looking at the team, the healthy team, the uninjured team, right? I'm not doing weekly power rankings in the NBA. That makes sense in the NFL, but give me a little sample size, and I know guys are coming right back. Mm-hmm. That's not how I'm going to power rank teams in the NBA.
You got a much more of a macro view in the NBA, much more. Especially when like you said, the injuries.
I'm not going to fast forward like 3 months from now who's going to be the best team, but like as of now, I know the Heat are fine.
Now, if these injuries, if Bam was a season ending, or if we're not getting it back till after the All-Star break, that changes things. But that's not the case. Moving on to now the third team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers, who are two different teams when Joel Embiid is on the floor and when he's not.
Crazy.
Maybe a title contender, at least an Eastern Conference contender when he's there, and a lottery team when he's not, basically.
12-5 with him, 3-8 without him.
I mean, it's
they
simple.
lost by 35 to the Grizzlies the other night.
It's crazy. So they're impressive little road trip the Sixers had. I like the 2 road wins that you guys had. And then coming home and defending home court too. So
double Charlotte.
Yeah, double Charlotte. That was weird. I actually thought
beat Charlotte twice.
when I turned the second Charlotte game on, I thought it was a retaping, and I was like, wait, no, they got different uniforms on.
And we play them in a couple weeks at home. I'm going to that game too.
It's crazy, but I will say I'm not down on the Sixers at all. I think when Embiid is there, I give you guys a fair shot against any team in the NBA.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have them third, especially above the Miami Heat team we just talked about, for the points we just talked about, right? Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have been missing time, and the Heat played pretty good ball. Joel Embiid goes down. This has been the same song and dance that the Sixers have had for a couple of years.
Yeah, but
I
Embiid
can't put that
been
team.
injured. He's got COVID. He got COVID.
I didn't say he was injured. Him
He
being
said-
out,
he
him
said
being off
out.
the floor.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be
Fair point.
out of the game. When Embiid goes off the floor, like when Embiid is not on the floor, the Sixers are a complete different
That
team.
has been the case.
I can't put him above the Heat for that. Not
you're
being
right.
down on the Sixers, but I can't put him
So
above the Heat for that.
here's the main reason that I think they will form like a cohesive team around Joel Embiid, and B they should they owe it
have
to
to.
him.
They have to.
Well, they don't. I mean, Daryl Morey has said that he's fine to play the waiting game. Blah blah blah. Like I think in their heart of hearts, the Sixers know the clock has been ticking with Joel Embiid in terms of his prime. Is going to be shorter than other stars. You're not going to look up when Joel Embiid is 40 and he is like LeBron James playing with his son. Not going to happen. So not only should they have to, they also owe it to Joel Embiid. He's never had the closest thing he's had to a perfect fit at the guard position is Jimmy Butler, who we just discussed is not like a shoot. He's not your perimeter, take all the shots type guy, at least not at his best. So if you're able to flip Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris for a guy like Toby for, let me poll you guys, Toby for Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley, would you do it?
Yeah,
Do we have to take Marvin Bagley?
Yeah, you want Marvin Bagley.
Yeah,
No,
Marvin Bagley wants
for the
Well,
Kings.
hold up.
Do it for the Kings.
You want Marvin Bagley.
Who
The
wants
Kings
Marvin
finally started putting him on the floor. That's a good piece.
Well, and
that
but
you'd
did
want.
you see
I'm saying the Sixers would want him.
Well, he wants out too. He's like
Oh,
shaking
he's
his
wanted
head
out
no,
also.
and they're like,
Yeah.
go in the game. No.
He's-
What do
yeah.
you mean no? what do you mean no?
That's
But yeah,
what you want?
I would
That's what you want in your
I would obviously do that. But why not just do it for like?
And then you send
Ben.
Ben. Then you send Ben for maybe you play the waiting game for Dame. Maybe you don't, and you just take CJ McCollum, or you just take Levert and another wing. Like these are ways that you build the team to Joel Embiid's strengths. You need a guy who's going to, and I think they will get him, which is why they're third.
I'm glad you brought up the Tobias Harris piece because I think a lot too much
He's a
focus
bum.
have been.
That's actually the perfect. I'm thinking in my head. That's the perfect trade, and the Kings would do it.
Yeah, I think
They're
it makes
ready
sense.
to move on from Buddy. Davion Mitchell looks great. Tyrese Halliburton's already a starter. You can slot him into the 2. So Buddy's fine to go. And then Bagley wants out. Let's upgrade the power forward position anyways.
And
They'd want to
you-
pick.
Yeah, and maybe you go give him a pick, sneak in Harrison
The power
Barnes. You guys
forward
don't need
position.
Harrison Barnes. Give us a nice little stretchy wing.
Isn't Toby going in this deal? You're talking about Ben. What do you mean the power?
He's
forward
saying
position?
Toby.
You want to put Toby at the 4?
He plays the 4 for the Sixers
Yeah.
for like the past 2 years.
I don't know if I'm the Kings if I want Toby. I can get you
I don't
closer
know
to
if I want
the playoffs.
Toby.
But
His known position isn't the 4. And to me, he plays
He's
like
played the 4 for years.
it's Sacramento, so I don't know how much of a choice they have.
Sacramento's current 4 is Harrison Barnes. I mean, Toby's a 4.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
they play the same position. He plays the same
You
position.
would, you would add a dynamic wing that they have not had. Like Harrison Barnes, they want to be Tobias Harris, hasn't been. Marvin Bagley was supposed to be like a game changer, hasn't been. So this is a chance to see if you want to see what your all guard lineup does.
All right, let's get out of fantasy land.
Yeah.
Let's get back on the Sixers.
Yeah,
fantasy
because I don't see what the
It would work.
But I'm glad we're on the Toby point because I think he's skated under the radar of a lot of this blame. We talked about at the end of the season last year.
You don't have enough Sixers Twitter.
Not for me, yes.
not for.
I love
okay.
Toby as a person, as a basketball
great
player.
team.
It's just like Oh, it's so frustrating.
Am I missing all the Toby hate?
They're more down on Toby than I am, but I
don't think I'm seeing the Toby hate that y'all are seeing. I don't the amount of it anyway.
He has like the game of Carmelo Anthony, current day Carmelo Anthony, without the ability to like get hot. Like that's my valuation of Toby's. I
think it's timely.
Very disrespectful.
I think it's timely because I think Toby does get hot in stretches that don't matter. I think he does get hot. Like I don't think
against the Hornets.
Yeah, I don't think Tobias Harris is a bad player. I don't think Tobias Harris steps up in the time and the amount that the Sixers need to win titles. I mean,
that's the reason.
That's the reason.
It's not because Toby's a bad.
He's
player.
Not bad.
Toby can go for 26 any night.
And Kyle, most of those buckets will come in the second and third.
I'm not
quarter,
saying any night. I'm saying like just if he goes for 26, you're not surprised.
No, he has the ability, and that's why.
Those buckets will come at second quarter, third quarter, maybe early fourth. Yeah. But when I need him to step up and make a timely bucket for me, where's Toby at, man?
He's fine, but he's being paid like he's very
the contract's good. The other part of it, and which is why you're probably never moving him.
He's
taking that
he's
hurts.
He's like 80% of what we need him to be, and that's why he's so frustrated.
Yeah,
it's just not
you can see that he could be there, but he's just not.
And we can move on to the next team after this, but I just want to. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say, but make no mistake. Daryl Morey will put his own personal stamp across the Sixers roster. It's coming. He's not just going to sit here with the pieces of all the former GMs and play it cool.
Prince is already on. That's Seth Curry. That's Daryl Morey.
Yes, but I mean, I'm talking serious. I mean, like you're the second, third best player on your roster are changing over.
You hope so.
He will. There's no question about it. He moved. He got Chris Paul, then he got Russell Westbrook. He's not afraid to make big splash moves, as he's proven in the past. Like Daryl Morey's a big ego guy too. He will have his handprints, and we will see. I think, my guess, a very splashy move.
We shall see.
Hold up. Just can we actually say something about the Sixers and not just Toby and why they're here on the power rankings? No,
we talked a lot about it.
We talked about it. We really did. I just want to say that, like,
did we hurt your guy?
No.
Toby, man?
No, I don't care that much about Toby at all. I just want to talk about the actual Sixers.
Go ahead, man.
We've mentioned Toby and Joel. That's it. I mean, the only thing I have to say is they do deserve to be this high on the list. Is that one? When Embiid's healthy, this team's very good, 12-5. But two, in those games, we haven't seen an Embiid, Maxey, and Curry game. We haven't seen an Embiid, Curry, and Tobias game. We haven't seen this team really in full form.
And
with
Maxey hasn't
playing
fully learned how to play with Embiid yet either. Yeah, He'll get there.
Dude, and he has his flashes, right? He has his stuff. Now Matisse is back. This team is deep. They have good bench pieces. Andre Drummond's probably the best backup center in the league. I mean, there's a lot going into how this team can be great, and they haven't fully gelled yet. I think the Sixers really could be a great team.
Yeah, me too, and that's why I have them third because you ride Embiid for 3.5 quarters in the playoffs, and then when they stop calling fouls and he's tired, you have someone else to give the ball to. Maybe it's Maxey, maybe it's CJ McCollum. We'll find out. Seth Curry, maybe
it's Seth currently.
I would. The option for me would be Seth Curry. But we can move on because we have the second team, number 2, the defending NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. Very similar to last season. They come in 2021 6th in offensive rating, 8th in defensive rating, at 62% win percentage. Last year, at this point of the season, 6th in offensive rating, 10th in defensive rating, 63% win percentage. So they're on the same course as they were last year. Why wouldn't they?
They've completely rebounded from their championship hangover.
I was just about to say.
Total last season stats. Just putting that out there. But they're just my point in putting that in is that this year they're just playing the same ball they played last year, and we know how that ended up. They were NBA. I don't know why I couldn't think of saying NBA champions, but they were NBA champions. Giannis numbers are the exact same, right? 28 compared to 27. 11 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, this team's doing exactly what they did last year. Drew Holiday has taken a step up. Middleton has taken a step back. And that's the small change. But they still do the same things. I think the Bucks are very good.
They're 12-3 in their last 15. They're just the Bucks. Yeah. And the Bucks are the champions.
The Bucks. Have they narrative time? Have they reached that level where their standard is just excellent basketball team. They're just the Bucks that's what we expect from them at this point.
I would say
with their current roster, I think they have.
And Dante DiVincenzo will come back at some point this season.
This
too.
week, he's coming back
This
tonight.
Do we know what the deal with
he's coming back
Lopez
tonight.
is though? Lopez has played one game this year out with they had surgery on his back, which it's not like you ever get better from a back injury.
Yeah,
you kind of just have a
seriously.
bad back. Like, so I don't, and he's up there anyway. Brooks
I
is
know.
up there anyway. So
He got COVID.
I would say that if he's not like the same stretch splash mountain,
Return
remember,
date uncertain. for
yeah, he got
Lopez.
COVID.
he hit some big shots in the Nets series that they're not moving on without. So I don't know. I think it's. We'll talk about the Nets here in a second. I think I might like the Nets going in, even though they won the champion. Even though the Bucks won the championship, I still like the Nets as my best team.
I don't think you need Lopez personally. I think Bobby Portis is just way better, anyways. Now it would help to have Bobby Portis and Lopez. Like, of course, that's always good to have two guys. But I think this team's strong. I think Portis is a piece they didn't have last year to this level, at least. I mean, and I was wrong about DiVincenzo. This man went out and got COVID. He was supposed to play tonight, but Matt was right. He's going to come back, right? I mean, so I think I agree with you, Matt. I think, or James, you said that. I think I agree with you. They're just like the Bucks. This is their standard, right? And they were a team that before last season you could look at chokes in the playoffs. Giannis isn't good in the playoffs. Well, all that's out the window now. So let's see what they do this year.
And I mean, it takes a certain level of team to hit that pinnacle of or that plateau of greatness is what we just expect from you. But I do kind of agree with you with Brook Lopez. I've always been like a little bit of a Brook Lopez.
You got to respect.
I love when Brook Lopez snaps, but I think he's one of those players that you may not notice his complete impact until he's gone. Like a Danny Green for you guys, or another role player that when he goes out, Brook Lopez is a very smart player, one of the smartest centers in the league, and without going out, Bobby Portis may have more talent, maybe a more electrifying, more exciting player. I think Brook Lopez is a smarter one, and you just need that on any title team.
I agree. You want them both. Portis is the
It's really funny how fine the line is in sports because if KD's shoe is a size smaller,
we're not talking about any of this.
We're not talking about the Bucks as like the standard, or we're talking about they fired Budenholzer, they're out in the second round again. Can they? Yeah, they're good in the regular season, but it's just the fine lines in sports are always so interesting.
But he's not. He's a 14, not a 15. And the Bucks are champions.
And what are you gonna do?
And the Bucks are champions because of that. Now, the Bucks are the same team. They look like the same team. Actually, a little bit better defensively this season, which is scary. But without PJ Tucker, and that's for whatever role that is. PJ Tucker played a piece on a title team. That's a big loss or no going into that because I'm like you, Kyle. I look at the NBA season at a macro level most times.
Yeah,
unless I'm trying to look at something very specific.
And
I'm kind of projecting, but a piece like that going to the playoffs, who fills that? How do you get over?
Well,
that?
it's not the PJ Tucker role. That's just no longer a part of the team. Now they added like a Grayson Allen this year, who's been very productive minutes. Jordan Nwora is a good rookie. There's different things that the team does now to where they don't really miss PJ Tucker as much, right? Do they fill that role? No. But they don't need to. The team's just different. They play the Bucks, right? They play the Bucks type of basketball, and now this year it's with no PJ Tucker.
But PJ Tucker played the Bucks type of basketball.
Sure, but now it's just different.
First-minded.
But now it's just different.
I guess. Does that change the makeup of your team though? Like how do you
It's
how
like
do you
the
play
small-
PJ
Tucker.
Tucker?
I mean, it's PJ Tucker.
I don't know. Who do you like now? Giannis is following Durant around, which he probably should have anyway. But now you can't like give him relief with PJ Tucker. I mean, who's your defender on KD in the playoffs if they do match up again? Which if you're projecting, if you're projecting
Giannis
these
was
two teams at the top,
was looking coaches in the faces anyway and saying, "I'm guarding him." Like that's my guy anyway. So like maybe he just goes back to that. Like
Maybe.
Giannis will gladly draw to the first defensive assignment.
Yeah.
And if you're a depoy, then that's what you do, right? Like that's what you do. We'll move on to that team that we're alluding to, the team that Kevin Durant plays for, the Brooklyn Nets, being number one in the Eastern Conference power rankings.
Crazy.
Which is tough for us as a show. Because we said that when they weren't going to have Kyrie, that you couldn't stamp them down as a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and here we are stamping them down as the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. The only team in the East with single-digit losses, so it's I don't know how you don't put them at number 1, 20-8 overall, and they have maybe the MVP frontrunner jostling right now with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, who to me that's amazing. His age after his injury. He's coming out, what I think he's averaging, 31, 32 a game right now, something like that.
29.6.
So
just went for 51.
51.
And in his words, that's light.
That's light.
He told Cam Thomas that's light for me.
Yeah.
That's number one team.
Which is tough.
That's tough.
I miss Cam Thomas as a 6th string. We didn't even get him.
Yeah. It's crushing that he had to go to the Nets.
For the Nets, though, it's a testament to how good Kevin Durant and James Harden are at basketball.
And Harden's having his worst year in a while,
but
too.
he's still just playing good. He's still playing well.
For me, that's why I really rate the Nets, because I think Harden's going to get better this year.
Yeah.
The fact that he's been slumping and they're still the number 1 seed just shows that I think by the time the season's over, they'll win the regular season East by like 6-7 games.
A lot of people, like, you have to understand there's a level of being a superstar in the NBA, right?
Okay.
Like, there's superstars in the NBA, but then there's KDs and Hardens, and now they're on the same team. Steph's in that category. LeBron's in that category. You can't throw too many other guys in that category. They're on the same
Giannis
team.
is in that
Giannis,
category.
I wasn't naming everyone.
I know.
But
But if we're talking about Eastern Conference competitors.
Yeah. I put Embiid up there then. But now you got both of them on the same team. They're that good. KD is that good. He put up a light 51, as you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who they got to go do third? Patty Mills?
Don't
LaMarcus Aldridge?
Here's
And
a
I like
crazy
Patty
thing.
Mills. But it's like, dude, this isn't the makeup of a team that should be first in the – like, these top-heavy teams don't work in the NBA.
I would agree with you if Patty Mills was not shooting 44.7% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. That's like no joke. That's like
That's
real
money.
usage.
That's a 3-point. That's a 3-point shooter.
So, we go back to a time where so LaMarcus Aldridge and Patty Mills both 10.4 shots per game. I haven't looked this up, but I'd imagine that the last time that they were doing that, they were probably on the same team in San Antonio many, many years ago.
Right.
So you're getting production now out of guys like LaMarcus Aldridge, who had to retire, like Patty Mills, who I think was an afterthought. So we can move to the elephant in the room, if Kyrie Irving does come back, I guess we have to view that as like kind of like the bow on top. That's the bow, or
Gotta be.
should we do the same thing we tried to do last time and be like, nah, it's gonna create problems on the court?
I can see it, because here's what I see for the Brooklyn Nets. I don't even think the Brooklyn Nets. I think I can get better as an offensive team. Like, I think that we can see a better version, because I don't even think James Harden is becoming the scorer that he can morph into if Kyrie Irving continues to be out. He's still only averaging 20 points a game right now in the league, and I don't think he has a score first mindset. I still think he has a facilitate first mindset when he's playing. The longer Kyrie stays out, the more that goes back into a score first mindset, because now I'm definitely the second option on offense, and that's never going away. And if James Harden gets back to a score-first mentality, a score-first mindset, the Nets could really break this thing open, and they're already one of the best offensive, not the best offensive team in the NBA, led by Kevin Durant. Let James Harden creep up into the top 10, top 15 scorers in the league, and now I don't care if they might be top-heavy, they're winning a championship.
Yeah. And Harden just started taking more shots.
Mm.
Like, there was a stretch of games, probably could be a month ago now, where Harden was taking, like, on average of, like, through 7 straight games, he took like an average of like 13 shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's not James Harden.
That's not James Harden,
especially
man.
on a team where the third option's Patty Mills.
And he's still averaging almost 10 assists and 8 rebounds a game. Like, he's
leading
still
the Nets in rebounds.
I think this team is just
man,
that
he's
good.
still doing
man.
everything.
You got like random guys playing a lot of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like DeAndre Bembry playing a lot of minutes. Like Nick Claxton was a key piece of that team before he got hurt. And I like Nick Claxton. But the way that this team is just getting it done night after night with whoever's on the court, as long as KD and Harden are there, it's fine.
F it, we ball.
Yeah, David Duke playing some minutes the other night.
Yeah, we ball.
It doesn't even matter.
We ball.
It doesn't matter. Joe Harris, I mean, he could play. We know he could play.
We ball. Give LA some minutes. We ball. Like,
it's ridiculous.
And
that
Blake's
he's
not
like,
even playing, bro.
Yeah, he's the
Blake got phased out.
LaMarcus Aldridge is like the knife twist. Like, oh, we finally we held him. It's not Durant. It's not Harden taking the shot.
Right,
you look over.
the third pass.
It's LA 15 feet away.
Cash
every single time.
Off glass.
Doesn't jump.
Right.
Just,
you look over, he's standing there every possession. What are you going to do?
Waddling back on defense, too. Oh,
tough.
man, that'd be tough. There goes our Eastern Conference.
I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
The team that we did not mention in this is the team that leads the Eastern Conference in point differential is not in the top 5 on our list.
Is that?
That's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I was listening to the Cavs.
The Cavs.
The surprise team. And, hey, let's
just wanted to give a quick shout out.
Yeah, a little comment. We realize that the Cavs are fourth in the Eastern Conference right now. We realize that the ball that they're playing, but it's a macro view now.
Yeah.
Low key
Macro
contenders
view
to
now.
get Ben Simmons.
So
Keep it in the back
here
of
we
your
got it. So Matt had the Cavs at 6. I had the Cavs at 7. James had the Cavs at 8.
I would have the Cavs at 6.
And yeah, Jake didn't go past his top 5, so 6.
So I'm a slacker.
So it sounds like actually I'll do it right now. Yeah, Cavs would have been 6 on our rankings. Actually, no. Where would you have the Celtics? 7 or 8? Or out of that?
Out of spite, I might not rank this.
All right, the Cavs would be our 6. So we hear them. If you had the Celtics 7, it'd be Celtics 6.
Jason Tatum didn't just spaz for a good
I-
against
he
the
can do
Bucks.
whatever-
Against the Bucks, I almost
He can
like
do
what
whatever
gonna
he'd
do.
like to do. He's still wearing that green and white.
I got you. All right, now it's time to move on to the rest part of our show. Officially, winners and losers time, man.
Yes, sir.
Conference
Winners and
play.
losers of the week. Where do you guys want to start? You want to start with winners or losers?
I like starting with losers. It's fun.
All right, we'll start with one loser. And, I was going to say the Chicago Bulls, but I think I'm just going to say COVID in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can
we've
you do
had
sports. Can you do sports in general?
Yeah,
Or the
sports
world.
in general.
The world. God.
But I had the Bulls down, but then I was looking throughout the thing like, oh, apparently Harden's on COVID. I was just looking at his stats. DiVincenzo hasn't even played a basketball game on COVID. I mean,
Yeah, it's really going
yeah, I
through
mean,
the league.
so my point was that the Bulls had 2 losses last week and then 2 games postponed because 10 players are on COVID right now. But it's going everywhere.
Mhm.
It's crazy. I
I
mean,
mean-
college football too now. I mean,
we got the Rams. They have a huge win, and then the next day wake up to 9, positive COVID test.
yeah,
I
Odell
think,
caught a touchdown with COVID.
yeah. I think James Harden
Costs more points.
It's
for him.
much more than James Harden. I think there's like 5 nets, something, and I think they're still going to play
And
tonight.
it's going around. I mean, we
Yeah.
just saw Sixers get done with it. Tobias, Matisse.
It's
Embiid.
just a little reminder in everyone's mind that we're not over this thing yet. Like it's still here.
Well,
we're still seeing
good thing-
spots.
for that.
I mean, the
Omicron.
only silver lining could be that, you get through, your team does COVID and you're done for 3 months of being able to contract it. Allegedly, that's how that science works, I think.
I hate that. The logic
I don't
tracks.
really
I
know.
hate that. That's like that
I'm
is
just
a
gonna say it
way.
anyway. I think that's true.
That's a way of
Should've kept the
thinking
word
about it.
science out of that one.
Yeah, that is a way of thinking about it.
Pseudo science. This is
Pseudoscience.
what we deal in.
All right.
All right, winner Steph Curry. All-time
All-time.
3-point record was broken last night, Madison Square Garden. Obviously, Ray Allen had it before. It took Ray Allen 1,300 games to set the record, or he played 1,300 games. He set it in like 1,100. And Steph did it in 789 games.
It's not surprising. I mean,
It's crazy. But
when did you realize he was going to break this record?
oh no, I knew he was gonna break it. But he's a winner of the week.
6 years ago, maybe.
For sure, but that's what no.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
a
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Like,
Gotcha.
like the beginning of once he, and it's funny. It
Maybe
probably,
that first game in the Garden. Everyone's
probably
saying
was
this
when he
record-
dropped 60 some in the Garden.
This
Really,
record his at some point.
And you're like,
it's just a matter of time.
Oh, he can shoot.
My
Yeah, it's
question.
a matter of time.
Anyone breaking this record ever?
No, because he's by.
Not for a while.
If he say,
I think it's unbreakable.
barring an injury, like where
he's
this is
gonna,
going to go?
pad it. He's gonna pad it.
Dude,
big
I think
time.
it's-
Clips like
I
4K.
think it's unbreakable.
No one in the league now can break it.
Oh,
It'd
no.
have to be like a next generation kind of.
Yeah, which I mean, with
Maybe.
the way
He did it.
basketball's trending, they're gonna be shooting, 40
Yeah, we'll say
jump shots
so.
soon,
So we'll go like this. Say he plays exactly 1,300 games. That's what Ray Allen did to put the record at this point. Steph still got 40% of his NBA career left.
Ray Allen played for a while though. I don't know if
Yeah, but
Steph's
Ray
gonna
No,
be
but
hanging.
Steph missed a lot of games because of injury early in his
Yeah.
career.
But
Because Steph's
Steph
33,
also-
34 now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, but like it took 60% of the games. To
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Like
That's crazy.
And the volume he shoots at, he can make up more ground in less games. That's how he did it in 789
averages
games.
5 made threes a game.
Yeah.
That's 15 points all.
Dude, it's
threes.
only like
that's nuts.
It's only like 2 games this season that he's had less than 2 3-pointers.
There was a
Or less than
time
3
where
three-pointers.
you too, but I won't come officially. That we very actively rooted against Steph Curry.
I did. Yeah.
I mean, the battles he had with the Clippers is really what fueled my hate, and I've come around
I
a
never
lot.
ruled it.
Like that's hands down, obviously statistically now, but hands down the greatest shooter of all time. And he's gonna continue to move up all time boards, not just as a shooter, but as a basketball player.
all-time
Like,
point guard boards.
Yeah, like you really got to
He could-
start.
There's like Steph could be the best point guard of all time.
Yeah, you really got to start giving this man his
He's
flowers.
number
I got him like
3.
I got him like 2 behind Magic.
Especially,
I got him behind West
es-
still.
especially if he wins the MVP again this year. Certain spaces.
Yeah.
he's in.
All right,
certain
loser.
spaces.
This is the funny one. Urban Meyer.
Gotta be right.
A report
God,
came
man.
out in the loser thing. A report came out in the staff meeting that Urban Meyer called himself a winner and the rest of his coaching staff losers. Well, Urban, your team's 2-11. You've lost 5 or 6 straight. Your number one pick's not working out, and you're having a horrible week.
If you're such a winner, how come you hired those people?
He's the loser.
He is maybe like the single biggest loser in all of sports. Like, I hate Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer.
He was really hateable before this.
He was hateable before this, and now he put himself in the NFL spotlight, and it's like, you are such a scumbag, dude. Like, we don't have to go into all of it, but like,
shaky baby.
Yeah, that's scummy of him to
say.
And
now he's like, yeah, I'm sticking in the pros. I'm sticking with the Jags. Are you still gonna have a job?
And here's the thing, right? You don't decide
the
that.
Jags are too cheap to fire him,
yeah.
And they're gonna ruin Trevor Lawrence's career.
Well, here's the most baffling part of that the piece you read, Kyle, the meeting that he had, is he made everyone go and prove their resumes and prove why they're here. Why didn't anyone be like, you prove why you're here? You're 2-11.
I might have
gotten
gotten
you are the head honcho of this ship. Like, why you prove why you're here?
I'm surprised someone didn't get up in his face knowing he's about a couple weeks out the door. Dude, and you probably are
someone
too.
Someone had to get froggy. I'm putting hands on her. I'm putting hands on him.
It's crazy.
I'm putting hands on him.
It sounds like he's just making excuses. It sounds like what Sean McDermott did.
He's a huge dude.
Like Belichick did now.
Well, he sounds like a classic.
Yeah, but he didn't throw anyone else under the bus though. He threw him.
Who? I know.
Urban Meyer or
you're talking about
McDermott.
McDermott.
Yeah, Urban Meyer calls everyone a loser. Like
it's classic narcissist, right? Like when stuff's going wrong around you, it's all that's fault. It's the circumstances' fault. It's not my fault.
It was actually the funniest part of my week, though.
That was hilarious.
And when they brought up him in the bar with the woman when they caught him out, he was like, "Oh well, Trevor Lawrence had what was it, 21st birthday party in Vegas. No one said anything. That's your quarterback."
He said that,
and he's 20, and he's 21.
Yeah.
You're 50 something.
You have a wife.
All right,
21.
Last one, winner, and you guys are gonna have opinions on this, but I'm framing the winner because this person won. That's Coach Prime. That's Coach Prime in Jackson State, bro. They got the top ranked corner.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a winner. Continue. Number 2 overall player in the country. That's Travis Hunter. Decommitted from Florida State and is now going to Jackson State. Winner, Coach Prime.
Coach Prime, Jackson State, HBCUs, college football. I'll get to it. Everybody but him. Everybody but him is a winner. And I'm gonna talk about this from two different slants. The first slant, I'll stay with Coach Prime and Jackson State.
You don't have to.
You want to talk about? The Coach Prime winner, whatever he do, right, man. But that's prime time Deion Sanders. But you want to talk about influence? Like that is one of the most influential things I've ever seen a coach do.
His first year as a coach.
But to get a player to decommit from a FBS top level D1 program to go to an FCS school, I don't care what it is. That's one of the most influential things I've ever seen a coach do.
And this wasn't Iowa State.
No,
this is Florida.
This is Florida State, especially now with the NIL deals and being able to make money off your name and likeness, like. To get someone to decommit from an ACC school, I don't think I've seen a coach do something more influential.
That's who the big winner is NIL. And really, you could even say college football.
Mm-hmm.
A program with an $8 million budget for their athletics just out-recruited a program with a $155 million budget.
Ooh.
So, that right there is exactly, in my opinion, the power shift that you kind of want to see to shake up the college landscape.
Absolutely. Now let me talk about it for these guys. What he said was interesting. He said the reason he did is but the reason for me doing this is to pave the way for future athletes to show that there's, a different opportunity to achieve your same goals. And I think that's a great message, and that's awesome. Don't fumble your bag.
Yeah, that's cool.
Don't fumble your blessings. You are the number 1 recruit in the country. You need to go where it's best suitable for you, for exposure, for your NFL career, for how you're going to develop everything. It's got to be you first and the culture. And that may sound selfish, and I don't want it to, but you got to take care of you first.
Right.
Don't worry about the culture and everything else before you worry about yourself. Now, I think he's at cornerback, and he's going to Jackson State, coached by the best cornerback in NFL history.
Probably a big
playing
one.
Against easier teams.
You know what I mean? So I understand the correlation there. But I don't want people to make. I don't want athletes to make a decision based on what's good. What's good for people moving forward, or what's going to.
No, he made the decision because he wants to play for Coach Prime.
And that's all well and good. And that's all well and good, right? And that's all well and good, and that's the broader scope of it. But I want to focus on the don't fumble your bag, man.
Oh but if he can play, he'll end up in the league. Period.
Well, they'll find if you can play, they'll find you.
I don't mind this move. I mean.
No, I love
the message he
move.
gave is great. But he wants to play for Coach Ryan. Like,
100%.
he's not going to do this at another HBCU with some random quarterback on a bad team. He's going to Jackson State with the best corner of all time, who just went 11-1, and he decommitted. He didn't decommit from Bama. He didn't decommit from Clemson. He decommitted from Florida State.
Yeah, Florida State does
who
stink.
went 5-7.
They do stink.
Like, they've had some good years, but they just went 5-7.
They do stink.
I think it's cool. I think it's gonna
No,
be
I definitely think it's dope. It's going to be awesome. And who knows? Coach Prime has. It's always cool when you create your own lane. He might have just created the next powerhouse in the SWAC because
crazy.
they didn't won a playoff game in like close to a decade, and now they got the number one recruit in the country. So that's awesome. But we're almost out of time for this episode of Straight Facts. As always, we can get some shots up at the buzzer. Who's got a shot at the buzzer to go?
I saw a shooting star. I told you guys this earlier.
That's
sick.
beautiful, man.
Don't fumble your
I've
shooting
never
stars.
seen that in my life. That's why it just blew my mind. I was running late for work, walked out my front door.
In the morning, too.
In the morning, yeah. I have to wake
I
up
feel like
early.
that's rare.
It was like 6:05.
It's still dark, or is it kind of
It was dark,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I just see this thing go across this, like, right in front of me. It was sick. And I just want to say that.
What would you wish for?
Fumbled the wish.
I actually don't
wish.
know. You're not supposed
I fumbled
to.
the wish. Hey, yeah, but we're towards the end of my wish. So I really did fumble the wish because I was just so amazed at what I saw. I was like, I hope I have a good day.
The
worst wish.
I hope I have a
ever.
good day. I think you also would, like, it doesn't come true if you say it, right?
Yeah,
Or is
you
that
already
just birthday
fumbled that as
wishes?
well. You told us what your wish was. That was
You
fumble
made
number 2.
You told him the wish. Like, you punched it
seven-
out. Like, you made him fumble it.
I'll break the
I'm
fourth
hunting for
wall.
wishes
It's
out here.
7:15 at night.
Don't bring your wish around me, bro.
Right.
It's 7:15 at night. We had a good show. It was a good
All
day.
right.
That's a good one. We just got to say the buzzer.
So I started my combat sports betting show live on the
sir.
radio
There you
last
go, man.
Saturday. We had UFC Hall of Famer Rashad Evans on. I don't know if you guys watched.
That's dope.
It was awesome. He is the greatest guy
That was
ever.
the first show.
Yeah, first show.
You started hot, man. You started hot, boy.
Starting a little hot. But he had mentioned, so there was the biggest upset in women's MMA history, women's UFC history. Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes in the co-main event. Rashad told us, like, I've been around Amanda, like, she's not looking right. Like, and he's like, I still wouldn't, I'm not going to bet against her, but, undefeated, she's just not looking right. Comes out, does not look like herself at all, gets steamrolled, which was kind of awesome to see the underdog win. And on top of that, up 24 times my money on the night. I had Charles Oliveira by submission in the third round. Only bet like a couple dollars on it. But it was 19 to 1.
Pays out, yeah.
19 to 1. So we had a great night. And I hope you guys tune in. Yeah.
Just casual.
So, I'm the resident soccer fan I've become on this show. And I want to shout out Robert Lewandowski. He is Bayern Munich striker. He is, the record for most goals in a calendar year is Messi with 91. That's not going to be broken ever. The second most ever is Cristiano Ronaldo with 68. With 69. Robert Lewandowski has 68 this year with one game to go, with a chance to. Everyone talks about Ronaldo and Messi. Lewandowski is throwing himself right into that level, and most people don't know this, but he was robbed of the Ballon d'Or.
I was about to say,
last year they canceled the Ballon d'Or in 2020 because of COVID, because the French press were salty that they beat PSG in the Champions League final. That's my conspiracy theory.
Right.
They canceled it?
They canceled the Ballon d'Or. And then this year, Messi won it. And it's never wrong that Messi won it.
But do you think Lewandowski should have won it?
They canceled giving the award. They didn't give the award.
What?
But do you think
the NBA just canceled the MVP? Like,
the MLB, when they had the strike year, they still gave out the MVP and Cy Young. It was absurd.
So do you think Lewandowski got robbed this year of the Ballon d'Or?
I don't know. Messi was great internationally and carried a horrible Barca team to like a good placing, and then look what Barca's done since Messi left. So, but Lewandowski, absolutely, we need to give respect to Robert Lewandowski.
I root for him because I'm Polish, so I root for him.
There you go.
I'm a Polish soccer player.
There you go. All I got to say at the buzzer is, I know it's a couple days ago now, but it's the first time that we've gotten on the mic since it happened. I want to address what happened with Kevin Durant and the fan. I forget who they were playing as they were inbounding. The fan shouts out some obscenities at Kevin Durant. He yells, obviously, what Kevin Durant yells back at him. And then Kevin Durant catches a fine for it. Catches a nice little $20,000 fine, $15,000 fine or something. I just want to say, like, how bogus I think that is, that I don't know if that fan got punished or not, but I haven't heard anything about it. I've tried to research it, haven't seen anything, so I don't think he got punished. But I think it's mad bogus that Kevin Durant is the only one that catches any repercussions out of that whole thing, and not the fan who yelled just as bad a language at Kevin Durant as what Kevin Durant yelled back at him. And the whole idea of fans being able to do or say whatever they want at games, and the players have to just act like it's not affecting them or have to act like they don't hear it or stay professional because they're on the field. I think that's terrible because everyone's a human. Like, everyone gets affected by certain things, especially if you're on the road and 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people all shouting these same crazy, obscene things at you, and you're trying to focus on, at the end of the day, a game that you're playing when they're yelling personal things. Also go back to LeBron trying to kick, fans out of the stadium for saying, I hope Bronny dies in a plane crash or something nuts like that. Like, I think it's crazy that, Kevin Durant is the only one who has to, deal with any kind of repercussion, any kind of punishment. And these fans don't. They essentially get to stay nameless because no one knows who these fans are. They stay behind a video. But everyone knows who Kevin Durant is. And now his pockets are affected because he really just defended himself when someone says, I don't know. I go on rants about these things. I think it's crazy. I hate
personally just didn't see the incident you're talking about, but I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, do you know, did you see the video?
I saw what he said.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I'm from Philadelphia. I love that. I would
say it back, yeah.
There's a certain line that you can't cross as a fan, but if I'm heckling, like, come on, Durant, you're getting locked up by Thibault, something like that, like, if I'm on you all night with that and you don't like that, you can go ahead and say whatever you want to me, but at the end of the day, like, then as long as it's within the fan lines, like, that's your trophy as a fan.
Yeah, right. That's my moment.
As long as it's within, like, certain.
But that's the point. It's not
correct.
You can yell that all you want. You're getting locked up, because that's cool. That's not personal.
That's
about the game. This fan just yells something crazy. F you, KD, you're. But you know what I mean? And it's like, if I'm Kevin Durant, yeah, F you back, bro. Because
I love it. I love it.
I think you'd also be able to defend yourself. You know who agrees with that? Probably our guy LaVar Arrington at Up on Game Network, because that's all that we have for this time. For this episode of Straight Facts, it was a good one. I'm your guy, James Jackson. For my guys, Jake Kelly, Kyle Sirik, and Stat Matt Robinson. Shout out to the Up on Game Network one more time. But these have been the facts.
Straight up.